Paychex. They're a huge name in the payroll industry. In this video, we're going to walk through some questions you should ask as you're considering Paychex as your payroll and HRIS provider. Now, Paychex has a lot of different solutions from self-employed all the way up to enterprise level clientele, meaning you can be a one-person shop, you can have 400 employees, or you can even have as much as like a few thousand or more. Paychex is likely going to have some product to offer. We're going to go through their website and we're going to talk specifically about if you're a small business or medium-sized business under 500 employees or so, this is the video we're going to focus on. We're going to look at the payroll product options that you have, and we're going to talk about the questions you need to ask as you're deciding, is Paychex a good fit for me? So let's dive right in. Okay, so we're on their website. This is their homepage. Okay, as we're looking at this, you have the different solutions, you have resources about their company. I will note that Paychex is a publicly traded company. With a publicly traded payroll company, the thing you want to keep in mind is how do they do their mergers and acquisitions? Is that a big part of their strategy? Reason why you as the customer want to know is if you have a payroll product that you're using and it connects to something very, very important for you, say time and attendance, or maybe you're moving from 50 people to 300 people. Well, if traditionally they're in the small market and they acquired a bigger platform or a different platform, you'll want to know. On Paychex PEO product, they actually have two different platforms. They have a Prism platform that they use for the Oasis PEO. We'll get into that in another video, but they also have a PEO that utilizes Paychex Flex. So as an example, the Prism HR, that platform, totally different than the Paychex Flex. They're two different ones. They operate differently, and you should know that before diving in. That being said, again, Paychex has done, even though they once did a bunch of mergers and acquisitions, they've done a great job of consolidating their technology onto Paychex Flex. You can see that with the payroll services here. So you look at the payroll services, we'll get into, let's just say, small business payroll, which I believe small business payroll for them is they have self-employed 1 to 19, they have 2 to 49. Let's see how they navigate us through this. Again, it's important to see how the company wants you to find your solution. Like, how do they market to you specifically, and what things are they putting in front as a best practice? Because one of the first things I always tell clients is you do want to understand your own needs before you go shopping. What's your payroll process? How do you manage your cash? Do you need to have 72 hours before payday? Do you need 48 hours? Do you need to be able to turn in the payroll today and be able to have the employees have access to the money tomorrow? Are you on a weekly frequency? That stuff really does matter. So diving into how many employees do you have? Well, let's just say you've got 89 employees. Okay. What do you want help with today? We want to go ahead, and a lot of my clients are looking for, well, usually they want to just get the payroll done, right? Pretty simple. Where's the business located? Let's say we're in California, the toughest state typically. What are your top challenges? These aren't really challenges most people have. But let's say it's offering custom pay options. So this is what they're recommending. This is how they go through it. Honestly, this is just leading down to making you contact them today. This to me doesn't really help too much, because the other question it didn't ask is, if you're at 89 employees, well, what are you growing into in the next 12 to 36 months? Because if you're going to be a 400 employee company in 3 years, it's a totally different sales process that you should go through. But let's go ahead and let's go to small business payroll, and let's see if we can find. Here's what I was looking for. So here's their different packages. Let's go to the full comparison. Okay, so when you compare the different features, again, you see Paychex Flex, Paychex Flex, Paychex Flex. They're flexing on you. No, so Paychex Flex is going to be a stable product for you throughout the process. That's important because let's just say you went from Paychex Flex and then they had some other system. Some of the competitors do that where all of a sudden you got to transfer all the data, all the information. It's almost like doing a payroll integration all over again from scratch. So again, if you go through this and you see this is for businesses from 1 to 19 employees, I would say that maybe, but there's 15 employee companies that have a lot of the complicated features likely going to be needed from a higher package. So Paychex Essentials is, hey, simple online setup, payroll processing. I mean, I wish they gave us a little bit more. Let's see. Oh, they've moved to being super transparent for these small ones. That's interesting. That wasn't something I've seen in the past. You can sign up online directly. So for the Essentials package, it's $39 per month, $5 per employee. You get direct deposit, you get payroll taxes. Awesome. I mean, that's something everybody usually gets. LMS, paycheck preview approval. Yeah, so some of these features, I mean, not really a big deal. They're every payroll company has these. These are all add-ons. Again, like if you're going through the sales process and you're expecting something very similar, let's say you already have a payroll company that you work with. One of the biggest things I do recommend is it's not going to hurt you. Print out the invoice because the invoice has all the product features and give it to the sales team, or our clients give that to us so that we can benchmark the actual products that you're using and see, well, how are you using it today? Let's go into your reporting system and see, do you really need state unemployment service insurance services? Well, you probably should have this basic one, but you might not need it. Labor law posters, you might get that from somewhere else. May not be an add-on needed. Integrations, GL, voice assistants, Paychex integrations. Let's see, what is that? Okay, so these are the APIs that you can share, the CSV files and such you can share in between different platforms. It seems like it is an add-on. By that, I don't mean if they're going to charge you more or not, but it shouldn't. It should just make it easy because they should. Retirement services, business insurance, and employee benefits. So retirement services are like your 401k plans. You want to create a 401k plan. Now, I personally have not seen if the platform does go on Paychex Flex for the 401k. In the past, when I've been a employee of the company and also an employer using their 401k product, it was a complete separate tool. So I would ask in the sales process, if you're looking at adding a 401k as a single employer, is this something that we're going to have to add on? Is it a different platform? How much does it cost? What reports do you specifically do? Do you take on fiduciary liability? Right? Business insurance. So, it looks like they do business owner policies, they do workers' comp, they do a few other items there. You want to check and see exactly what it is they do for you. They're trying to be all in one shop. On the employee benefits side, a few of our clients have come from Paychex, and generally, people may want to house their payroll, their 401k, their benefits, meaning health insurance, dental, vision, life, all that in one place. And the thing is, when you do work with Paychex, if you started off on this essentials package, you're likely going to get phone calls from other salespeople trying to add on products. Some of them are like the PEO product, which is where you take all your employees, you put them on a EIN number that's shared with multiple people, and you should be able to buy benefits at bulk and actually get great rates. Now that's a whole separate discipline. We'll get into that in another video. This one's focused on basic HR and payroll features right now. So with the employee benefits, they can be the broker of record. When they're the broker of record, they'll typically take on COBRA administration stuff for you because they're obviously connected to who you hire and fire through payroll. You should be able to do all your onboarding right there on the HRIS tool. They also will help you out with picking out your plan designs and such. Now, The difference in why people may want to keep their broker that they work with now versus going with Paychex's agency is, well, the broker has more of their vested interest at heart. They're generally, maybe they get more service. Maybe they like the way that they pick plans. Maybe they've been working with them for 15, 20 years and it's just easier to have it all in one place. It really depends. For us, we're agnostic to it, but all of our clients that are using Paychex, they do work through us and we're able to come in on the back, either through their benefit admin system that they have, through Flock, or we use our own benefit admin system, whatever the client prefers, but you can link all that stuff up. As you see all these different add-ons, these 3 different packages, my personal preference is to always start with the professional package and go backwards. Why? Because you don't know what you don't know. You don't want to tell them like, no, I want to go after the lowest cost plan. Give me the best price, give me the best price, give me the best price. Price shouldn't be part of the conversation until you found your problem statement. What are you looking for, which comes from you? And look, it's up to your advisors or the salesperson to help you on the journey of figuring out, well, what are some things you have to have in place? And what are some things that you need to know are your responsibility? But tactically, how can we just make that easy and streamlined? So you push a button, you hire somebody, all the paperwork's taken care of. There's W-4s, there's I-9s, there's handbooks that need to be signed, open enrollment forms, evidence of insurance, there's workers' comp that guys get, and all these things need to happen simultaneously. And you can do that through your Paychex product if you pick the right one. So sometimes people don't have a great experience with their, salespeople, and they do require like a little bit more hand-holding. I know for us, we personally have our own relationships in our ecosystems directly with Paychex. I used to work there, although I will say it was many years ago, and they do constantly update their systems. As you can see, I love the fresh new look that they have. I recently got a demo and it looks pretty good. Nothing like, absolutely life changing, but the product works, it looks good, and it's pretty intuitive and easy to work with. So if you are looking at Paychex, I would say start off with looking at the pro package and work backwards. Why? Because look at all the products that you take care of: payroll, garnishments, all that stuff, the LMS system. If your company is growing, you're going to want to know for a learning management system. For those of you who don't know what it is, you basically want to create a way for your employees to be educated on different systems that you have inside the company. Instead of having me tell you like, hey, this is like a tour around the office, here's what you can expect, or here's how you log into this specific site, or here's how we do our filing systems. Why not just go ahead and do a recording and put it in the library and have it right here in the HR function? Reason why you might want to have it here instead of like a Vimeo account or a Google account is you can check the box and say, hey, did Jim watch this? Check, Jim watched it. So have them walk through that for you. Again, so job posting integrations, a lot of these things do seem like they're add-ons. I would definitely say that some of these products that they're giving, I mean, they're pretty standard with every payroll company. Nothing super interesting to go over here. The job costing and labor distribution. Now, this is absolutely important for you. If you know what I'm talking about, then you'll want to pay attention to this. So job costing and labor distribution reports are typically designed for, hey, if you have a government contract and you have to show prevailing wages, or you have to show that people are working a certain job code for a certain amount of hours, then you're going to want to have a report that reflects that. If you have the right time clock solution or the right time keeping solution integrated with the payroll, you should be able to have an employee, hey, you know what, I'm getting paid at a rate of $27 an hour to do this job for, this company. And then you know what, for this project, I actually get paid $35 an hour. And the important part about that for certain industries, even construction companies or IT companies or anybody who has multiple clients billing, is you can also use that as a report you can give back to your clients as part of your, how are you structuring your costs in your contract. It's just a lot of people who work with governments or take certain grants, they may need to show a lot more transparency than most. And one thing Paychex does very well is they do the job costing and labor distribution reports, and it's great. I know a lot of entertainment clients actually end up using them for different projects to make sure they're in line with, SAG or any of these other different organizations they've got to abide to. Now, GL integrations, it's an add-on. It's not voice assistant integrations. I've never seen this piece. I, I'm not sure. I personally don't feel comfortable doing voice assistant integrations with payroll, but I would be very interested to see how that actually works. I couldn't imagine saying, "Hey Siri, run my payroll for me."
You'll need to unlock your iPhone first.
Uh-oh. Let me turn that off. So that's a little bit about these different products. Now, let's go into the HR services. So another thing that they do really well at Paychex is they have HR teams. So these HR teams have a product that's, I believe it was called ASO. I'm not sure exactly what they're calling it right this moment. Let's see if they have it on here. No, they don't. Okay, so it's Paychex HR Professionals. All right. Oh, this is just a checklist. Okay, so on this checklist, all right, access to assess your actual HR needs. Other HR providers don't. I mean, objection, leading the witness. Develop a unique ongoing service plan. The others don't. I, I mean, that's a little corny, to be honest with you. There's no way that come on. I'm not going to read the rest of this because that's a little ridiculous. What do they do for you? Becomes an extension of your business. Okay. Well, here's the other thing too, is you do want to make sure that when you read the service contracts or you're talking to the team, you understand what are they responsible for? Are they responsible for giving you the advice, and are they accountable to the advice that they give you? Meaning you need to make a change in this section of your handbook in regards to your Cal OSHA compliance, right? That's what you need to do. Are they going to be accountable if Cal OSHA comes in and says, nope, that's actually not the case? Or are they giving you best practices? So that's one of the key terms when you're looking at the HR service piece. Are they giving you actual advice that they stand on, or is it just a best practice? Typically, it's best practices. I've recently been told by one of my Paychex reps that they actually will take accountability for some of what they say. Now, I have yet to see that in action, and that would require, an issue to come up with one of our clients. None of our Paychex clients have any issues right now. So I haven't seen that personally, but in the service contract, it will definitely let you know whether or not they're going to take on accountability for you, and if that goes on you or if it goes on them. Now, if you have a PEO, professional employer organization product, whether it's Oasis or the Paychex Flex one, they're going to be co-employed with you and co-liable, but you are the first line of insurance and they're typically secondary. Again, read the contract, and for the most updated information, it's the service agreement. And sometimes the service agreements are a little dumbed down to 5 or 6 pages, and then you want to see the terms and conditions, and that's a lot longer. So you want to look through all of that stuff or have your legal team look through it beforehand. I do know that Paychex in the past, and if you require it, I believe they do have HR professionals that will go on site and do walkthroughs. That is unique. When you have people go on site and doing walkthroughs, the way that helps you out is they can come in and see things that you couldn't see normally. They might say, hey, you know what, this wire here, it really needs this type of tape or this type of, information. You need this signage if you're going to have static electricity in here. You need to have this protective equipment. Also, this needs to go back into the handbook and the safety manual. You have an MSDS, or you have all these different things that you need to be mindful of for compliance. And a lot of times when we're starting the business, growing the business, sometimes we're thinking about what makes revenue, but compliance, it has to be top of mind. Let's outsource the thought of how we could lose to someone else that's an expert in figuring out how we could potentially lose. My only caveat is when you do work with these HR companies, you want to make sure that you understand what they will stand on and what they will not stand on as far as their advice. Okay. Now, I got testimonials. I mean, of course, that's people who are hand selected that have nothing but positive things to say, hopefully. Personally, I'm agnostic, so I can give you a little bit more insights. Workers' comp. So, the workers' comp, you can get this insurance through Paychex. Our clients, we do their workers' comp and we're able to integrate it through Paychex on the payroll side. You can get it directly through their agency. Cobra administration. When you look at Cobra administration, I highly, highly recommend, if you can, always try to, well, not always, I highly recommend that you consider tying your Cobra administration to your payroll company. Why? Because then when you let somebody go, you always remember, I don't want to pay this guy, but you never think, oh, now I got to send this guy out Cobra paperwork. And the Cobra paperwork needs to be filled out. It could be today, it could be tomorrow. He could sign up for it 45 days from now when we've all moved on and I've stopped thinking about it, right? And then when he shows up on the bill, you, the employer, are going to be paying the invoice for that to the carrier directly because it's an employer sponsored plan. And it's up to the Cobra company or yourself to collect the money from the employee and deposit it back in your bank account. They'll actually do this service for you. Typically, there's like a admin fee per month as the employer, and the employee generally pays anywhere from like a 1% to 3% fee. You'll want to look at specifically what they have if you do end up going with that. State unemployment insurance, I definitely think everybody needs to have that. The state unemployment insurance service it's generally, if you get an unemployment claim, it could be true or false. If it's not addressed within a timely manner in your specific state or local municipality, then it's going to just get approved, and that's going to make your SUI rate go up. Oh, that's not like a ton of money, but you don't want a bunch of false unemployment claims on your company for no reason at all. So when you're looking at that, I wouldn't gloss over it. I really don't think it's that special. Most companies do this already, so I don't see it as a big deal. The OSHA safety program. Now, this is something I would say is highly recommended, even if you just work with them and let's say you just get something started. You at least can get a benchmark or an audit of your current situation. And look, like they'll even do like training courses, they'll look at financial and employee protection, they'll look at safety reminders, dedicated safety experts. Usually, this is the service I was saying, they might come out with a hard hat, some safety goggles, and a checklist. These are the guys who actually do this stuff. And a lot of times in your local area, they might have a service center where the HR business partners sit out of. They might have a whole team. And a lot of these people are very competent and very good at what they do. Paychex, I will say, service has always been top of mind as far as like how I've known them to be, and I feel like at least a few years ago, the salespeople that were there, and many of the salespeople who are tenured there will know this. They have a whole Paychex University where they send you to Rochester for a couple of weeks and you have to actually balance a payroll by hand. So a lot of these folks actually do understand payroll, how it works, and can give you some good recommendations. And they're also, I would say that extends to when I was a Paychex employee and I did go to their training, we spent an extensive amount of time on identifying things in the employee life cycle, things in the client's world that might be a safety risk to them, so that we can properly make sure they have the right products in place. So, that being the case, I would say check that out. Now, we kind of went over like handbooks, HR services, all that stuff, other resources. What I would like you to do too is I would invite you to look at these payroll services, compare the different packages, and see which one's right for you. But before you do, and again, this video is mostly focused on the payroll side. As you can see, they've got a lot of different products for a lot of different size companies. Again, this one's mostly focused on small business payroll for now and some of the integrations you can have. But if you have more questions about how to identify, is Paychex the right solution for us? Is there other vendors we should be looking at? Feel free to reach out to my team. Go to our website. We do have an area where you can book a one-on-one or a benefit strategy session where we'll go cover some of this stuff. And again, we're third-party neutral. We're the insurance brokers. We more focus on the insurance, employee benefits, and making sure that you're aligned, or if you want to go onto a PEO or off a PEO, we make sure you guys are all set up for success. When it comes to payroll, we do have an ecosystem of a lot of vendors. We do have a lot of expertise in this field as far as how to pick the right company for yourselves. We've been on both sides of the table as buyers and as sellers, so we're more than happy to extend our expertise to you and see how we can be helpful. If you have any questions, again, feel free to book a time with us. Thanks for watching and good luck on finding the right payroll provider.